Did you know that we have been using our five senses? No, wait, six senses all wrong? We have been mass manipulated for several decades, if not centuries, to completely misuse our senses. This was a major download that I received recently, and this is something that you may want to tune into. This is Holly Hall from AskHollyHall.com, and this is the Holly Hall Show. I am a master astrologer with a background education in philosophy, psychology, neurolinguistic programming, certified in past life regression hypnosis therapy, and I'm also remote viewing and clairvoyant. I have been doing astrology as a sidereal astrologer recently, and I get downloads frequently. You may want to take a look at my book, 101 Answers from the Universe, you can get on Amazon. So let's just cut to the chase. We have five senses. No, wait, we have six senses, if not even more than that. And there are laws of these six senses. And the laws are, and this was downloaded to me, the laws are in order for us to be able to navigate ourselves through life, including as individuals and collectively, subjectively and objectively. We have to apply these six laws of all of our senses. And so let's start with one. Okay, so the first one is the visual, the sight, the sense of sight. Now, recently, in specifically in the last probably 3 to 4 decades, our eyes have been subjected to eye candy. Yeah, basically eye candy. Does it look good? Does it capture my eyes? Does it capture the sense of what I see? Does it make me my brain be able to understand that if by seeing this, I want it, I desire it, I have to have it? And there's a psychology, there's the color of psychology, or psychology of color, and they actually hire psychologists in order to help market products according to the shape and the visual and the color, including how they set up grocery stores, etc. So we have been completely manipulated by the left side of our brain, which basically manages the whole right side of our body, the more pragmatic, intellectual side of us. And our eyes, our sense of seeing, has now been the focus of, if it doesn't look good, it's not going to feel good. And it has created an intense amount of unnecessary desire that we don't need. Now, of course, when you go out into nature and you see beautiful colors within the trees and the ocean and the water and the lakes and flowers and animals and rocks and mountains, everything in nature. Now, that is what our eyes are meant to be able to program, the beauty of its natural. Even our food, if you take natural, beautiful, homegrown food or natural organic foods that you may purchase, and you build a beautiful plate of food on a beautiful table with friends all around. Now, this is a sight to see. This is beautiful for our eyesights. Also, our eyes are for observation, and that is the first law of eyesight, and the sense of the eyesight is the ability to use those eyes to observe. Now, because we've got a narrow view now due to staring at phones, computers, even at one time TVs, and we're just narrowed in with these imaginary blinders on either side to focus on the visual of what they are presenting to us in order to contrive the situation in which they keep us captured, so we keep watching the program or we purchase a product. We've forgotten our peripheral vision. In fact, many of us are losing our eyesight and even our peripheral vision because we no longer use it. You don't see what's going on either side of your view as you're walking along, as you're walking anywhere. And when we lose our peripheral vision, you don't have a wide observation of what's going on. And it's amazing just having that wide peripheral view with a large radius in front of you allows you to capture opportunities that you would most likely miss along the way. And therefore, you can also limit yourself with a very important tool of being able to visually see somebody's body language, maybe the twitching of their feet, or the exhale, inhale, the quick exhale, inhale of their stomach or their chest, the facial expressions, their hand gestures or hand movements, because we're too preoccupied with either what's going on in our own mind, or maybe we're too preoccupied with other situations around that. And therefore, we lose that sense of observation and we miss a strong intuitive side to ourselves in which we can tell if somebody's lying or not telling the truth. They're fidgeting. We can notice that if we're uncomfortable or not comfortable, but we won't know why because we're not visually seeing the signs. It can also manipulate us into desiring things that are extremely unhealthy for us. And therefore, that consuming of whatever is unhealthy for us is not only distracting us, but it's also creating an unhealthy sense of intuition, an unhealthy sense of being able to use our observation as a tool to help navigate us through life. So then let's look at number 2, and that is the sense of smell. It's very similar. Now, because of the foods that we eat and the products that we may consume, such as the smells in our shampoo products, body care, makeup, even fake smells that are in foods, etc., or even the smells that are in the air. Some of them may be very hard to detect, but they're still there, such as the pollution or things that are put on, such as our agriculture, etc. And there's a tendency not to know that those smells are there, or we can become somewhat immune to them or so accustomed to that smell that we don't, even in our products that we use in our home, the fake smells on there, or the smell that may be coming from your carpet or your linoleum or the paint on your walls. And these are also tainting your sense of smell. Animals have a very strong sense of smell because a lot of animals' eyesight is not as crystal clear, depending on the type of animal, if they're nocturnal or not. And their sense of smell and their sense of hearing, which we're going to get to next, is what's really important for them to be able to navigate through their own existence and to keep them safe. And so the smell, they can smell danger a mile away. We've heard that saying before. They literally can. It's not just a saying. They literally can smell danger a mile away. Something shifts in the air, a smell in the air. And at a time when we used to eat either plant-based or meat and plant-based, we could actually tell the smell of each other. And it's a pheromone, right? Now, it's not just a chemical. That's an actual sense. It's an actual smell that we could trust that sense of smell, whether we should be with somebody or not be with that person, whether it be intimately or as a friend or foe. So the sense of smell, because of everything that I had just mentioned, has also been manipulated. What was it meant to be used for? It was meant to keep us safe. It was meant for us to be able to smell danger or smell a great opportunity. Using that sense with the sense of eyesight is very powerful when utilized accurately. Now we got the sense of hearing, and that's our third sense. And so the sense of hearing, as you well know, as I segued into it, talking about the sense of smell, is extremely important for us to be able to hear the tone in somebody's voice, whether the voice has gone up in sound or lower in sound, which I use a lot when I'm working with clients in neurolinguistic programming. I can literally tell when their soul is speaking their truth, and that's their higher self, because their tone goes up. It gets a little giddy like a child, gets a little faster paced as well when they're excited about something. And I make note of that, not only to myself, but to them as well. I will circle back and go, I heard this tone in your voice and the speed of your voice as well. And this tells me that something that you just talked about, we need to pay attention to that and do a little bit of a deep dive around this. And they'd be like, oh, I never noticed. You're absolutely right. How did you know that? And and I tell them right out, this part isn't my psychic ability. It's my ability to listen to the tone and the speed of the pitch of your voice, according to the neurolinguistic programming that I've taken. Now, when you have this keen sense of hearing, you can also keep yourself from danger. You can hear if there's a car a distance away. You can hear if you're in a location that, let's say you've got some anxieties and you don't like really busy crowds, you can hear that from a distance, like that there's, and you may not hear it very clearly, but silently you'll hear something and you'll be like, I feel like it's going to be really busy where we're going and I'm not comfortable with that. And then you step a little bit closer and you see at a distance, yeah, it's busy. And then you can, walk your way away from that danger. The sense of hearing is also with your ability to be able to utilize the sound of nature and music to be able to help calm you and create a gentleness within your ability to calm yourself quickly. And there is music in the air, but it has been drowned out for decades. And it is now being drowned out by, unfortunately, all of the cell towers that we have, as well as the 5G cell towers, which hence why a lot of people have ringing in their ears now, because of our ears are not listening to sound the way that we should. We have a lot of noise pollution now, and the sense of and we block it out and we tune it out, and that means we block out and we tune out the sounds that are important to us. So, as I just mentioned, the magic of having a keen sense of sound, if you're as far away in nature as possible, you will start to gain back your third sense of sound. And it's clearly magical. That's why when you go out in nature or you go out on a rowboat out in the middle of a lake and you can hear things you've never heard before. And it calms you, doesn't it? That's what the sense of sound is for. It's to calm our central nervous system. Now, the fourth one, which is the sense of taste. I believe, apart from the sense of sight, the sense of taste has been manipulated the most. And we have several areas in our mouth and around the side and the bottom of our tongues that have different tastes and different tastes that we're attracted to, such as the typical, we know, sour and sweet and bitter and spicy, but we have a lot more around that as well. And that sense of taste allows us to really enjoy good food. And it also helps us, specifically back in the sort of caveman days, what foods were healthy for us to ingest or not. By simply immediately putting them in our mouth, we would know right away this food is not good for me. Now, it might be a healthy food for somebody else, but you would know right away this isn't good for me. And it would be in its raw form. We have so much synthetic foods right now that are smothering and covering our even our natural foods, specifically with pesticides, the way that they're grown and they're not ripened properly. The taste of food is diluted immensely, and so is the component of how healthy it is for you has been diluted. And therefore, we tend to slather our food with sugars and salts and spices and fake flavors, etc., just to be able to enjoy it. Because we know innately, deep down in our the core of our soul, we know that food should taste good and it should be eaten surrounded by people that we love. And we don't have that anymore. And so the taste of food, the more that you can grow your own food, find other people who can grow food, eat seasonally, and find foods that are flavorful for you and that are healthy for you, and that you can swirl them and whirl them around in your mouth and taste it. Because when we love the taste of our food, we leave it in our mouth longer because it tastes good. So we tend to chew it longer. And when we chew it longer, specifically if it's a healthy food, like let's say an apple or strawberries or cucumber, right? And I have had really good tasting cucumbers. I used to grow them, and I could tell to this day I've never had as good tasting as I did then. And I must go, and I will be growing them again. And I would chew them a bit longer with a little bit of natural sea salt and some pepper. And so what happens is then your mouth actually takes in vitamins and minerals from the food. It's the first place that you start digesting. That's the top of your digestive system, and it's important to be able to subliminally have our vitamins and minerals from our foods through um, through the mouth area and the taste. So that's the magical part of taste. Now, your fifth sense, which they say we only have, is the sense of touch. And now that we want everything has to feel, we have these fake materials that feel like babies' bums, and they're soft and they're mushy and they're cushy and they're whooshy, and even on our clothes, and they flow. We want this because they've told us it feels good and it drapes well, but it's all fake and it's not natural. And therefore, our manipulated need, it's been manipulated to us, it's been indoctrinated to us through the consumerism is this is the kind of material that you want. And this is that first it kind of comes as a visual when it comes to clothing, and then you wear these materials and they're on their sense of touch just isn't through your fingertips, even though most of your nerve endings are at the fingertips for that sense of touch. It's everywhere on your whole body. And so the feeling of these clothes may feel good, but they're unnatural and they're plastic and they're full of chemicals. And this gets absorbed into the largest organ of your body, which is your skin. So sticking to linens and cottons and hemp, which can be made delicately as well, is extremely important for that sense of touch. But also, the sense of touch is touching a human being, touching your own self, feeling happy to be able to touch your own self when you're having a shower, when you're putting lotion on, when you just want to hug yourself, or you want to, we touch our stomach when we feel pain. And we do that for a reason because we have we have healing elements in our hands, and when we touch a certain part of our body that may feel pain, it will make us feel more comforted slightly by that sense of touch, just as we can use our sense of touch to comfort someone else as well. Now, since we've become more and more detached from each other, and people don't want to shake hands and they don't want to hug and they don't want to kiss, I mean, I'm a self-proclaimed, I'm not a hugger. I never have been, even before all of this hogwash went down. But that's something I need to work on. I understand that that is a somewhat of a disability of mine, and there are reasons for it. So the sense of touch was also to be able to connect, and not just touch your food, touch nature, touch trees, so where we can connect with trees, we connect with the earth, connect with nature, the bottom of your feet. I wear Birkenstocks, I wear the sandals in which they're completely 100% natural products. Even the latex bottom part of it is sustainably sourced. So everywhere I walk, I am connected conduitly, is that a word? As a conduit to the ground, to nature. And I need that energy. We all need that energy. So this is something that's important, the sense of touch. Now let's look at the sixth sense, and that is the sense of intuition. And where does this sense of intuition come from? It comes from all the other senses, which even the sense of a sense of taste is going eventually into your stomach, and that is where your gut is, and that's where your intuition is, in the gut. And we have to have a healthy gut microbiome in order to be able to utilize all of the hormones and the chemicals such as serotonin, etc., that's released or are told to be released by the gut. There's some in the gut, some in the brain, and we need all of these senses to take care of our body as a temple and to be able to have the strongest intuition possible. And this intuition can help us make decisions, make better choices, make better, more accurate connections with people, know if we should hire someone or not hire someone, apply for a job or not apply for a job. It can relieve us from an enormous amount of uh, mental disabilities or psychological disabilities in which fear can keep us from making accurate decisions. Fear based on some trauma or PTSD that's unrelated to the current event in which you have to make a decision or a choice from. And that's why a lot of people get very confused. They don't know, am I supposed to do this? Is it, where is the fear coming from? Is this intuition, or is this an actual fear of something that's happened to me in the past and it's tainting my choices right now. We don't know when we don't have our sixth sense. So these are all the laws of the six senses, and we need them all. And I'm not saying that tomorrow you need to change all of this overnight. Baby steps, and we're all going to fail. We're all going to have days where we can't do this. It's too difficult. It's so challenging. And the baby step, it becomes a ripple effect or like a domino effect in which you just want. You start eating fruit for your first meal, let's say, then every day you eat fruit for your first meal, healthy fruit, not in a shake, not in a, I mean, it doesn't mean you can't have shakes, but it's really better to chew it. And my favorite is grapes. Every morning I have grapes. And you do this, then you want to eat even healthier, and then you want to eat even healthier, and then you want to eat even healthier. So it becomes a domino effect. And as your intuition grows, it becomes stronger and stronger as you choose more natural products, as in makeup and body products, or create your own, which are very simple actually. And even for your makeup and your using natural essence on your body or in your soaps, you're going to crave more and more because your body is going to start to become an amazing, magical, smart machine. So there are your six senses. There must be a seventh one because I've said it twice, so I'm gonna have to download that one. And I hope that this helps serve you well. Namaste.